All right, guys, welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. It's just me today. I know we haven't done one of these in quite a while, and we've been busy, and there's been a lot of things that have happened since we've been gone. And Joe's at work, and I kind of have some time off. I have today off, and kind of have some time this morning, so I just kind of figured I would put something together really quick. By myself to go through as of this morning. So, gonna try to keep this on the shorter side. Mainly just gonna really talk about some Iowa State stuff today and kind of where things are at with the football team and maybe talk a little bit about basketball. So, obviously, like I said, a lot's happened. So, Matt Campbell's gone since we've last talked, and I feel like I'm not going to talk about that a whole lot because that's so dated at this point. Obviously, very disappointed when that happened, but happy for him. I hope he goes out and wins a national championship at Penn State next year. And I wish him nothing but the best. And the problem now is that in 2025, when you lose your head coach, you're going to lose a lot more than just your head coach. It used to be you lose your head coach, everyone else stays. You're just losing one guy. Now you lose a head coach, and you don't know who you're all going to lose, but it's going to be a lot of people. Coaching staff, started with the coaching staff all leaving. We have not retained anybody. Iowa State has not retained anybody on that coaching staff from Matt Campbell's, which is kind of shocking. I really thought they would keep somebody from Matt Campbell's previous staff onto this new staff to try to keep some of that culture in the building, maybe try to keep some of these players from leaving. But Jimmy Rogers wants to bring in a whole new staff. He wants to bring his guys in, which is fine. That's what a lot of coaching staffs do. It's just sometimes they will keep one or two guys from the previous staff, and they elected not to do that. They are bringing in a whole new regime here and a whole new culture. And so we're going to have to see what happens with it. At this point, do I think Jimmy Rogers is a good hire? I don't think anybody can say yes or no. Is Iowa State going to be good next year? I don't think anybody can say yes or no. With the transfer portal being so crazy the way it is, it allows you to build a team in 2 weeks, add 40, 60 guys if needed to. And so we are going to get some players back, some good players back. But with Jimmy Rogers, he's bringing in his own defensive coordinator and Jesse Bobbitt. Offensive coordinator is going to be Tyler Roll from the Detroit Lions. And it'll kind of get into the Rocco Becht lead, wherever that's going here in a minute. And Jesse Bobbitt, I've seen a lot of good things out of him, heard a lot of good things out of him. He was actually just the interim coach in Washington State's bowl game against Utah State, and they looked really good. That team looked inspired and ready to play. After your head coach leaves, how excited is that program? How bad do you really want to go out and play a football game? And that team looked like they were ready to go. They looked like they were ready to play. So credit to him for having those guys ready to go, and that's a really good sign that I like to see coming into Iowa State. And we kind of got some other good coaches around the country that will be, good, that we've heard good things about. And he's trying to keep a Midwestern thing, I think. He's trying to keep a Midwest vibe to this coaching staff, trying to really recruit hard in this area of the country. I think that's going to be their main goal, is to recruit this area hard. And that's what kind of sucked about Matt Campbell leaving, is because, locally, Campbell was really on a dominant trail. He was dominating, around the Midwest for recruiting. I mean, a lot of kids coming out of Nebraska, and we had a decent amount of kids out of Minnesota, and then he was just finally starting to get Iowa. We got the 4-star Will Slange, however you say his last name. We got, he committed to Iowa State, and now he's decommitted. He's probably not coming to Iowa State anymore because Matt Campbell left. But that's just what really kind of sucked about it, too, is the timing of this, is Matt Campbell was really starting to find his connections in Iowa and really starting to recruit really well in Iowa and compete with, the Hawkeyes in recruiting in the state of Iowa. So that does kind of suck, but the only coach he's bringing in that I don't think was part of any of his previous coaching staffs is Tyler Roll. He's the tight ends coach for the Lions. He will remain with the Lions till the end of the season, and then he will come over to Iowa State. He was Iowa State's running backs coach in 2024 when we had our first 11-win season. And so, a lot of familiarity with some of those guys in that locker room, which is good. Hopefully that's a good thing. Hopefully he can help, maybe retain a few guys. So, but he's also bringing in a new style of offense. Right now we're very gun heavy, play action, and when I say gun heavy, shotgun. We run a lot of shotgun formations, a lot of play action. He's going to go more to a pro-style offense. And when you get to a pro-style offense, it's a lot of under the center. It's usually more run-heavy, and there's not really any play action that comes out of it. It's all bootleg stuff. Now, it could be very effective. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you'll want to see how this offense works, just watch the Detroit Lions. Watch the Detroit Lions. They run the pro-style offense. There's more teams starting to go to the pro-style offense in the NFL. And I've heard people say they like it. They like it and they dislike it. They like it because when the quarterback's under center, it's so hard for those linebackers and those D-line to see what's happening when the snap actually happens because there's so much going on and they're kind of hidden behind an offensive line. That's why people like it. That's why some people like it. It also gives you the option to bootleg out. You send a tight end out on a bootleg. Watch Jared Goff do this with his tight ends. I'm telling you, it works. The thing they don't like about it is you got to have quarterback with good footwork because when you take the snap under center, first of all, you're coming back probably 3 to 4 yards to hand that off, or you're taking about a 3 to 5 step drop to be able to throw a ball. In the shotgun, you're only taking a 1-2 step drop. Now you're going to be taking probably 3 to 5 step drops back to get off the offensive line. And you also have your back turned towards the offensive line, for a second or two. And some people really do not like that. So there's some positive and negatives to it, but it can make your more average type quarterbacks look really good. And I feel that's what the Lions have done with Jared Goff. Not saying Iowa State's going to get an average quarterback, but we know, just as well as I know, that we're not going to go out and get one of the top dollar quarterbacks in the portal. It just won't happen. And so Tyler Roll's bringing in that new set of offense. He's bringing in a pro-style offense, and that's what leads me to Rocco. So many people are, well, I shouldn't say so many, but there's a fair amount of people that are like, really, Rocco left. Why would he leave? He posted a video last year, loyal, true, forever, everything like that. And I get it. And I truly believe Rocco wanted to see this thing through. I really do. I think he wanted to stay. I mean, if Matt Campbell's here, he's obviously our quarterback. There's no questions asked. He's coming back. He's not transferring. So, and I really think he did have a like for Iowa State. And the problem is he's used to running an offense for 4 years now. And now you're going to bring in a whole new offense, and he's got 1 year left to learn it. I mean, this is his final year. This is his senior year. And he's also thinking about going to the NFL. Obviously that's everyone's goal, but that's his goal, is to have, hopefully a career in the NFL. And do you have enough on tape right now if you're Rocco Becht? Coming off the year you just had, I don't know if you do. I don't know if you have enough tape right now to send in the NFL and feel comfortable that you get drafted, even drafted. So he's got to put a good 5th year on tape, or at least try to. And I don't think that's by learning a whole new offense in 1 year and then trying to run an offense you've never ran before. I don't think that's a smart option for him. And I see a lot of people that, are like, we hate Rocco, F you for leaving, everything else. I don't like that one bit. Rocco did nothing but good things for Iowa State. And people do that to Matt Campbell, too. That one really irritates me. Those two guys together brought us to our first 11-win season ever. I don't know why you say F them. They did nothing but good things for Iowa State University. So, but put yourself in Rocco's shoes. If you were Rocco, what are you doing? You have to learn a whole new offense and everything in 1 year. And not even really 1 year. You get like one off season to learn all this. And granted, he would have had some help. I think Tyler Roll, hopefully he's as good as a coach as what we all think he is. So he would have had some, help and everything. But at that point, you're still, do you want to risk it all on trying to learn a whole new offense? I don't think you do. So there's my take on Rocco Becht. Now, a lot of people are starting to semi-freak out because we're losing a good amount of starters. I think I counted this morning we got 5 or 6 starters that have left. The last big one that I seen was Carson Hansen entered the transfer portal. And so this is how it is in 2025. I heard the best analogy the other day from Chris and Chris. Or not from Chris and Chris. It was Williams and Bloom. And they were saying that Iowa State has lived under a glass jar for the last 5 years while the whole world has burned around us, okay? This has been happening everywhere in college football besides Iowa State. Sure, Iowa State, we have a few guys every year that leave, like Tyler Onyedem left last year for Texas A&M. Did that suck? Yes. Did that make or break our football season this year? No. But a lot of teams out there are having that problem where they have a significant amount of players leave that makes or breaks their season the next year. And we had a coach in Matt Campbell that saved us from a lot of that. He built a culture. A lot of these players liked Matt Campbell, and he was able to retain a lot of players over the years. Now he's gone, guys. Like, this is the real world now. This is the world we're going to live in. Like, we're done living on Mayberry Street, all right? We're out. Our world's burning on fire too right now, okay? If finally our glass jar caved in, it's done. And that's when I said at the start of the podcast that what sucks about just losing a head coach is you don't just lose your head coach in this day and age. We're going to lose a lot more than that, and we are right now. And losing those starters, yes, it hurts. Absolutely, it hurts. I think we were supposed to return like 18 guys last year as starters, 18 starters next year. Iowa State would have had a chance to be really good next year in football. Like, we would have had a chance to be probably top 3 in the Big 12 next year, had the season not gone like this season did. And now that's gone. Now that's, you're losing all those starters and everything else. Now we have no idea what Iowa State will look like next year. Not saying Iowa State still can't compete for a top 3 spot in the Big 12 next year, but we don't know that now. We didn't know that anyway, but we're not as sure of a thing as that's going to happen now. So that's kind of where it's at. Now, the portal opens on January 2nd, okay? And I think the portal's only open for like 2 weeks. So you're going to see like 20, 40 guys coming to Iowa State in that 2 week period, okay? Now, our players, because there's been some confusion here, okay? And this whole thing, it doesn't really make sense, but this is how the rules are set up. I've had some people ask me, why can our players enter the transfer portal? Because other teams out there cannot enter the transfer portal yet. They cannot say they're entering the transfer portal till January 2nd. They can enter the transfer portal, and then that's when the portal opens as well, so they can actively sign with a new team. They can go somewhere with a new team. And the reason that our guys are able to jump in the transfer portal right now is because when you have a head coach that leaves before the end of the season, before the end of the year, I guess I should say, the end of the new year, like Matt Campbell did, those players can enter the transfer portal early. It gives them a chance to get out early. Why that makes any sense, it doesn't really to me. But so that's why you've been able to see Penn State players enter the transfer portal as well. James Franklin was fired. Their head coach was gone before the new year. They can enter the transfer portal. Matt Campbell left, our players can enter the transfer portal. But from what we've heard, there's a lot of movement right now within like South Dakota State, Toledo, and like Washington State. A lot of those players, there's a lot of movement going on in the background that we don't see. Okay, I think there's a lot of players on those teams that can't say they're entering the transfer portal, but they're going to enter Washington State can say they are going to enter the transfer portal. I don't know how many of them have, but the other two teams, they haven't been able to officially say yet, but apparently there's a lot of movement going on. So, yes, we are going to bring players in. And they're probably going to be some good players. Some of those players are going to be really good. We're probably, and this is what sucks, is we're going to do this to another fan base, is we're going to do this to Washington State. All right, we're going to take Washington State's probably best top 10, 5-10 players. We're going to take their, I would just say, in that area. The rest of them we're going to transfer out somewhere else, but, we're probably going to get 5 to 10 good ones off that team. He was at South Dakota State before Washington State. Apparently, there's a lot of rumor that a lot of those South Dakota State players are looking to get back with him. He was only at Washington State for 1 year, so he still has a lot of players at South Dakota State. So there's been some rumors that a bunch of those players are looking at jumping in and getting on into the transfer portal and hopefully coming to the Cyclones. We also got a assistant defensive coordinator out of Toledo who was their defensive coordinator. He has really high praise down there. He's done a lot of good things at Toledo. It sounds like there's some players down there also entering the transfer portal that they're thinking is going to be coming to Iowa State. So you just don't see that yet, though. You don't see that the players are coming in. All we see right now is the players going out. And absolutely, it sucks. If anybody tells you shouldn't be bummed out, they're lying, okay? We should be bummed out that Carson Hansen's leaving. We should be bummed out that Rocco Beck's leaving. Guys like that, John Tez Williams, Coop, you should be, not happy that those guys are leaving. I get it. But we're going to get players back in. And some of them, you hope, are just as good of players as them. That's hard to do, but not saying that cannot be done, okay? And the other thing is I heard too, is Jimmy Rogers went into the locker room and he had conversations with all these guys. And it sounds like a lot of those conversations went really well. He had a lot of good conversations, and he's basically telling these players that if you don't want to be here, then leave, okay? Because I want to bring in guys who want to be here to play for me that want to win games, okay? So if you're not all in, I don't want 1 foot in, 1 foot out, okay? You're either all in with me and we're going to win, or you're all out and you're going to leave. And so he's kind of left it into the players' hands, to decide whether they want to stay or leave. But if you're going to stay, you better be all about this new coaching staff. You better be all about this new culture. And so, and he's going to bring his own players in that are going to do that. He's going to bring guys in who are going to fit his, style of play, because we're going to have a whole new offense and a whole new defense, guys, of schemes. We're going to run a 4-3. We're going to run a pro-style offense. It's going to look different next year. So he's going to bring in guys who can run his styles of play. So that's my take on the transfer portal, and we are moving more and more closer to professional sports. This is a professional sport now. These are pros. They're paid like pros. They should be employees. I think most of the players would like to become employees. It's just the universities and everything are fighting that, and they don't want them to become employees, but that's where this needs to go, is they need to become employees. This is pro sports now, okay? We're paying these players. They need to be, maybe not contracts, but they need to be employees, all right? And I think as soon as we made them employees, you could see a big change in bowl games, okay? That's what I think. I think you could make bowl games fun again. I really do. I think if you had them as employees, it'd be mandatory that they have to play in the game, just like your job. If they don't get paid. You take a certain amount of their pay away, because if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. If you don't play in the bowl game, you don't get paid. And so I would think you'd see a lot more of these guys starting to play in the bowl games, and you can make bowl games like fun again, because bowl games right now suck. They're horrible. You don't know who's playing. None of their starters are playing. It's just The bowl games are like NFL preseason games. It's all players that you've never seen, that you've never heard of. Okay, yeah, you got a few guys out there starting just because they're trying to get a little more tape in for the NFL, hopefully. But other than that, I mean, in the bowl games, all it is a money grab for these bowls. That's all this is. They just want the money from your fans, from your universities for participating, and then they send you on your merry way. Okay? They don't care if the games are good or not. That's the problem. We need to make the games good again. And hopefully that'll be coming at some point, but I don't put any trust in the college football system the way that it's gone to this point. It's going downhill fast, and but there's nothing we can do about it, nothing I can do about it besides, try to understand the way that it works and then, hope for the best. So that's kind of where I'm at on college football. Don't really think I have anything more to talk about. John Haycock retires. Didn't always love his defensive, schemes and stuff, but great coach. I think that guy's an awesome coach. Sounds like he was a stand-up guy, and so happy for him. He gets to go out the way he wants to go out by retiring. That's hard to do in this day and age without getting fired, and so kudos to him. I hope he enjoys his retirement, and thank you to him for what he did for Iowa State for the last how many years under Matt Campbell. So with that, I think I'm done with the football talk. Basketball talk's going to be really short. Those guys are rolling right now. I mean, we haven't talked so long about the basketball either. I mean, Kylian Torre is, from what I've heard, he's either a one and done or two and done. He's going to the NBA. He is an elite level defender, and he is what makes this team rise above what we thought they were going to be. Everybody coming into the season, we're like, well, you're going to have Milan, Justin Jefferson, and Taman, but you're going to have those three. Yeah, they're good, but it's going to make your team, okay. And it's because of, really, I think, well, it's a lot of guys, actually. The main one is Kylian Torre. Nobody thought he was going to be what he was going to be as a true freshman, and he is just nothing short of amazing right now. And then you have, I think the second most impactful player right now is probably Blake Buchanan, our center. He had a little rough start to the season, but he's really starting to figure it out now. He's starting to get more, familiar with the physical play that, it demands to play in the Big 12 and against some of these teams. And you really start to see that coming through. And then I'm a big fan of Dominic Plata. Dominkus Plata. He's really good. I think he has been hurt. I understand that. And, hopefully he gets back, gets better. He was out there the last game. I truly still believe as you watch the season go on, he's going to be one of those guys that just continues to progress through the season and looks nothing like he did in his first game at the end of the year. So those three guys really help set it apart. And then you got like Jamarian Bateman, who lately hasn't been, what he was maybe the first couple weeks, couple games of the season, but still comes in, gives you, 3-4 minutes off the bench to give like Torre and Lipsy a rest. That's huge to get those guys just even, a 3-4 minutes till the next time out or something to get a breather. And he's been able to come in and do that. Is he always scoring? No. But, he's doing a lot of other things as well. He's a high motor type guy. He's a really good defender too. So it's cool. It's good to see guys do that. And Heisey, coming off the bench, he's really kind of taken on the role and just, embraced the role of, not being the superstar on this team, but being a guy who can come in off the bench, and have the experience and play alongside guys like Torre and Bateman and them, and kind of be the more dirty worker, get the rebounds and stuff like that, draw the fouls, and he's just kind of embraced that role. He's not always scoring either, but he is one heck of a defender, and that guy's always trying to rebound. He's always getting hit in the face. He's always doing something. So, hats off to what Heisey does too. A lot of people don't see what Heisey does on a game-to-game impact, but if you just watch that guy when he's in, He does some pretty cool stuff for us in the background that we don't recognize. So that's kind of my take on Iowa State right now. I mean, Mila Momcilovic is shooting out of the roof. I don't know how long he can keep this hot streak going. It's gone longer than a lot of people thought. I hope he can keep it going all year. It's probably not going to happen. But, kudos to him. He's been working towards that for a long time. He's always wanted to be that shooter that we can go to shoot those, threes and stuff like that. And in the big moments in the last few years, it always kind of seemed like he just kind of fell off. It wasn't there. It's there now. So hats off to him. And Justin Jefferson looks really good right now. He's playing at a very high level. Tamin Lipsey, I don't even know what more you can say about Tamin Lipsey. That guy's playing through injuries, man. He's everything. If you ever want to see somebody that bleeds Iowa State, just look at Tamin Lipsey because he's one of them. So, yeah, that's kind of all I got. Basketball right now is kind of in a little bit of a lull. We're going to start Big 12 play January 2nd. At home against West Virginia. We don't have a very tough schedule in the month of January, and we should be able to get some good wins out. We do travel to Kansas and to Baylor. I think those will be challenging. I think this team's good enough to win both of those, but you also never know what's going to happen with Kansas. And so, you could lose either of those two games as well. So it was a tough non-con for that team, and that team did really good through non-conference, obviously undefeated, going to Purdue, playing, St. John's. We were hoping, Creighton would be a little bit better, which they should have been, and they're just not. And so, I mean, that was a good win too, but it's just Creighton's not what they are. And that non-con was tough. I mean, and it could have been more. I mean, we wanted more as Iowa State fans, and basically in that Vegas tournament. But it didn't happen. So this team's just going to keep on fighting and chugging along, and they're doing really good. So they're going to start getting into the Big 12 play. Hopefully everybody stays healthy, and we'll keep looking towards March. So I think that's about all I got for you guys. From myself and Joe, Merry Christmas. We hope you enjoy your Christmas. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Just Toast, the toasting experts. We'd also like to thank Earl's Doghouse. Gonna head out to Earl's Doghouse today and celebrate Christmas with Earl. I'm sure he'll be happy to see us. He's probably gonna sit on our laps and everything else, try to give us kisses. But Earl's a cool dude. And then shout out to Nate and Maddie Can Box Repairs, even though they haven't done a single can box since this show started. So maybe we just need to drop them as sponsors. And they got some stuff they need to get figured out too. So, but all right, everybody, thank you. It was just me today. Thanks for listening, and have a Merry Christmas.